All right, 1-0 the score. Westchester leading Penn State after 20 minutes. Dan Griffiths, the freshman, with his fourth of the season from Sean Cole and Steve Mead at 13-17 as the Icers outshot Westchester 14-9. Didn't get their first shot until 5:58 of that opening period. Just one penalty called in the period by referee Doug Wood. Dominic Marone, a silly roughing penalty at the 20-minute mark, so the Icers will be down a man for 2 minutes, barring another goal for Westchester to start the second period. And joined by Joe Battista, Director of Hockey Operations. We'll call you that for short, you know.
That works.
It probably changes week in and week out, but another frustrating period. And you know, I talked to the guys this week. Rodney just talked to Paul Daly. It's like they don't have an answer to what's ailing them right now.
Well, you know, I was talking to Cliff Benson. He's here watching the game with me, and we were saying, you know, this is exam week for a lot of next week is when they're going to be, you know, trying to get all their academic stuff in order, and you can use that as an excuse, but you know it's coming. So, you know, I think what happens sometimes is, you know, there's that point in the mid-semester for the fall, and then again in the spring when you just got to find a way to grind it out. And you know, they're still getting some shots on goal, hit the crossbar there, but I still don't think they're going to the net enough. And, you know, they got to, at times when things aren't going your way, throw the puck at the net, something good's bound to happen.
The thing that I've been on about, seems like all season long, is the passes just are either missing by 10, 15 feet, or if they are on the sticks, they're bouncing right off of the sticks.
Yeah, well, that's a concentration issue. And, you know, I think at some point some of the guys got to, you know, kind of maybe check their egos in at the door, and they got to work on, you know, fundamentals. You know, there's no way to get around that. But, you know, again, I saw some good physical play toward the end of the period, and that to me says, all right, they're going to get revved up a little bit, and I'm sure Coach Balbone's giving it to them pretty good between periods. And
yeah, you'd know something about that.
Well, you know, you got to remember that these were the games I found the hardest from a coach's standpoint, because on paper you're supposed to win. I think these guys got beat pretty badly by Delaware not too long ago. So, you know, you get that in your mind. Sometimes, we just got to show up. It never works that way. And no matter how many times you try to tell players, you can't. You got to bring your game. And somebody's got to step up in the locker room, or like I said, I'll be willing to bet a lot that Coach Balbone's going to give it to him pretty good.
All right, let's talk about something a little more pleasant, I suppose. Some big news today, obviously, is another step for the varsity program with the announcement of the design firms for the arena.
Yeah, Crawford and BCJ from Crawford is from Kansas City. BCJ is from the Wilkes-Barre area. Partnered, and they won the award for the architect's contract. They did the initial study, so they're obviously very familiar not only with what it is we're trying to do here, but the site, you know, what needs to be done, what can and can't be done because of where the steam lines are, utility lines. You know, it's always a tricky thing because you look at a building that you know is going to be there for 75 years, and architecturally you want to do something, but you got to move a power line. So do you spend $1 million to relocate that power line? Because, you know, in the short run you say, well, we don't want to spend $1 million to do that. But then when you step back and say, this building's going to be here for 75 years, you know, maybe it's worth it. And, you know, that location is such a great place. And if we do the right things, and I'm no architect, but been in enough of these meetings to know that.
And enough buildings, too.
If we do it the right way, it's going to have some great views of Mount Nittany, great views of Beaver Stadium. On the backside, it's going to have great views across campus. It really is a unique place, and we're going to be able to build the building partially into a hillside, so it allows us to bring in fans both at the concourse level and at the event level, which I think is pretty cool to be able to do that. So we're excited. It's you know, it's been a tough thing. I got to tell you, we've read more about architects in the last 2 months than I've had to do since I was an engineering student in my dreams back as a freshman but it's been fun. We're excited. They have a terrific team that they've put together. And, when we got down to the 3 finalists, I think most of us would have been happy with any of the 3. It was a very tough competition among them. And at the end of the day, we're going to end up with a state-of-the-art, world-class facility.
I guess the obvious question is when. I mean, what's the procedure now? What do the 2 firms have to do?
Well, they're going to have about a year, fast track it 9 months to design, put everything on paper, on computer. It's all 3D modeling these days, and which is really amazing stuff. But I think the decision at Penn State, what we have to make is, do we want to break ground before or after football season next fall? You gain 3 months if you break ground in August, but now you're taking offline a lot of parking. It's just I don't know. One way or another, you're going to have to, for 2 years, you're going to have construction going on right outside the Bryce Jordan Center. So you got to do it at some point. Maybe there's a way to get it so that we can do some things without disrupting the football parking and the traffic and that sort of stuff.
Well, much like they've done with the ladies softball stadium.
Absolutely. The difference, again, is that if you look at where we're building that, it's going to take offline the ADA parking, some of the bus parking. We'll come up with a solution, but once again, people have to be patient because there's a lot of moving parts to this, but it's all good. It's exciting. In a couple of weeks, we're going to pick the CM, and, we want the CM and the architects to work together very closely right from the start. And, again, hopefully we're designing a building that's going to be not just great for the men's and women's hockey teams, but for the whole community.
As long as it has that Tim Hortons in it.
I'm working on that.
Keep me in the loop on that one. I know some people.
We have to start a letter writing campaign,
I know people. We'll see if we can get it done.
Okay.
Joe, thanks a lot, as always. And anytime you got news, you know where I am.
You got it. Thanks, Steve.
Joe Battista, Director of Hockey Operations. Hey, is this going to mean you're not going to be traveling as much now to all these Division I arenas?
Oh, no. I get to go back and see a lot of them again, this time with the architect. So what we'll do is, again, once we pick the CM, we'll take some of the guys from the CM team and some of the people from the architect team, and we'll pick a handful of rinks, and we will go visit, study them, I'll show them what I saw and be able to say to them, okay, this is the kind of thing. But, and obviously I want to see what they think. Yeah. Because, like I said, because of this site, we have an opportunity to do some pretty unique things with the building. And it's just amazing, Steve, to me, things like taking into account the prevailing winds, where the angle of the sun, things like that, and how that impacts even the way you want to orient the building for energy efficiency. So it's been fascinating. I've learned a lot. I'm excited about it and looking forward to working with this team.
More to learn. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, Joe Battista. Quick timeout. We'll have second period action when we come back. Westchester leads Penn State 1-0 after 1. You're watching Icers Hockey on Ustream.tv.